don't be surprised if Peoples-Jones has an incredible camp, surprises some folks and gets some name recognition and gets in there. I would not be surprised at all. It's hard to count him out just because, he hasn't put together the body of work that some folks wanted him to have. I do think there's something there we haven't seen. And Donovan, I think, said that in his conference call with Cleveland reporters the other day. There's more to him than you've seen. He hasn't scratched the surface of what he believes he can do. And if that in fact is true, then he could be one of the steals of this past draft.
Why is there so much love for Peoples-Jones? If I'm going to frame this argument this way, I could say he's never really put together a memorable season. He couldn't earn top receiver honors in his own conference. Yet a guy like Urban Meyer goes on a podcast right after he's selected and is shocked and says he should have been a top 10 pick. So can you just try and make sense of all this for me real quick?
Yeah, with Peoples-Jones, it's always been about his athleticism. I mean, he's, I think, 6'2", 212. He was measured at the combine. His jumps were tops among the receiver group. I think he did the vertical in 44.5 inches, the broad jump on 139. So his numbers are off the chart from an athleticism standpoint. He just hasn't been able to necessarily translate that into the game. So there was an assumption coming out of high school that he was going to be able to do that at Michigan. While he showed bits, glimpses here and there, he never was able to kind of put it together as a whole.
How do you think see it playing out for him? He's not going to line up next to Odell necessarily unless there's some injuries, but how do you think he can make that impact right away for the Browns?
Well, the opening's there. I mean, just going down the roster and who they brought back and what the production from last year. I mean, it's clear the number 3 spot is open there. Whether he's going to be able to fight and compete for that, I don't know. But it's certainly going to be there. So if he can come in, and we don't know when, obviously, mini camps are going to start or anything like that. So I think that's going to hurt him. But I do think he's a guy that can, at the very least, land on the roster, get a roster spot, and get an opportunity to show himself. And once he does that and has enough time to, gauge the way the NFL works and the practice schedule and everything, he'll get it down. I think he'll be a guy that will last for a while on the roster. Whether he's able to climb the depth chart and get a spot, get reps and everything else, again, remains to be seen.
How about as a special teams guy? He might have an opportunity. He probably will have an opportunity to be, the gunner type, the kickoff guy. But specifically as a returner, what did you see during those 3 years at Michigan?
Yeah, he got better, I think, as things went on. But I think last year was hampered by the injuries. He didn't have the speed that I think you saw in the early first couple of years. It was real interesting. When he first came in as a true freshman in 2017, they put him as a punt returner right away, like first game. And I think the first 2 games he dropped punt returns. So head coach Jim Harbaugh actually benched him for 1 game. They brought him back. I think it was game 3 or 4, and he ended up returning the first one, I think, back from being benched. He returned it for a touchdown. So he clearly has the athleticism and the speed to do it. And Michigan trusted him with the ball, and I thought he was fine. I think it's 250 yards in 2018. He had 320 yards punt returning in 2017. He had a touchdown return in both 2017, 2018. In 2019, there were no eventful runs that I can remember. I think he only returned. He had 173 yards punt returning. So it wasn't nothing eventful, but he's certainly capable. He could certainly do it. He has the technique and the speed to do it. I don't know what the Brown situation looks like at that point, but it will certainly be an option for him, I think, this year.
Talking to one of the Browns scouts who came on for a call during the draft, he said something interesting about Peoples-Jones. He said, on tape, we noticed he would make the hard catches look easy, and then the easy ones were hard, or he'd even drop them. First, did you notice that same thing, and why do you think that is if you had to label it?
That's a good point, and it's probably accurate. They're obviously looking a lot more tape than we did, but yeah, I mean that's and I think that goes back to his thing where he shows flashes at times where he looks like that. There goes that 5-star kid that we all talked about coming out of high school, and then there are times where it's Michigan needed a big catch or needed a big play, and he just wasn't there. Part of that could have been on quarterback Shea Patterson. Patterson has gotten knocked in the past for accuracy, for issues, especially on short throws where he kind of fires the football in. Didn't have a ton of touch, so I think maybe that played into some of the drops we saw. But elite receivers need to make those catches and need to make it consistently. Donovan just didn't do it. So we'll see if that changes then for a level where the quarterback play is significantly better and more reliable. But yeah, that's a good way to sum up Peoples-Jones' time at Michigan. He made the difficult catches look easy and the tough ones look hard, or the easy ones look hard.